press record. So one more time, I'm Brenda Bauer. I'm a mom on a mission to inspire healthy living around the world. And we're so glad that you're here, that you took the time out to invest in yourself and your family's health. And I can't wait to introduce you to my friend Angel. And she's going to tell us a little bit about her health journey and also a little bit why do you talk about nutrition as a fitness professional. So take it away.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. And I'm so glad we did meet through our mission, and we actually got to meet in person, which is cool. It's always fun. Yeah, my name's Angel Falk, and I've always been a lover of fitness. I was always cheerleader and dancer and into working out really from my teen years. So I thought I was healthy, but I was living a very fit and active life, teaching lots of classes, had small children, and I started losing my hearing. And that's what got me to go into the doctor. It took several tries to finally get an MRI when I lost all my hearing, and found out I had a large mass on my brain. It's called a meningioma, and it had tails intertwining my brainstem. Sorry if the dogs start growling. We have a visitor here today. So anyway, we'll just roll on. Yeah, so that's kind of what got me looking at nutrition, because like I said, I was very fit and active and loved working out. And I thought the harder I worked, the better. The more sweat, the better. So I was really not living a healthy lifestyle because I was overdoing it. And after my brain tumor surgery, I had a 14-hour surgery and had to relearn to walk, talk, swallow. Everything changed. I lost my facial nerve. I lost my hearing. That really, when you have a major health scare, it wakes you up. So I just started doing my research to how to be healthy. And basically it always boiled down to eat more fruits and vegetables, because I was, I'm married to a pharmacist. We've been married 27 years. And we always had a cabinet full of vitamins and supplements and thought we were doing pretty good. We still, though, drank Diet Cokes. We still bought processed food in a box, all those things. And we just started learning more the power of plant foods during our research. And what really got us looking was after a year after my brain tumor surgery, the tumor actually came back and I had to have radiation. And that is when I got serious and I found out about Juice Plus. I started out just with these little fruits and veggies. They're juiced, and then we take the water and the sugar out and put them in a capsule. And I started out with that, and I wanted my kids on it. I heard a doctor talk about the power of plant foods and how there was an easy way to get them in your body. So that's what got me started. And of course, I wanted my son and my husband to join also, get our whole family healthier. And what I found out is when we all started consuming Juice Plus, we started actually craving more fruits and vegetables. So it made it easier because it's bioavailable. It gets straight to our bloodstream. So we're eating more, and you start cutting out the yucky stuff, the more you get the good stuff in. It's just the way it works. So all those phytonutrients are getting in our bodies every day. We feel better. And I found out that my body recovers quicker when I take my Juice Plus, and we drink our smoothies also. If y'all don't know about those yet, they're wonderful. 15 superfoods. So we just found the difference in being fit and healthy and how it's important to be both. We need both. And people who work out all the time usually have some kind of illness. Honestly, I've read somewhere they actually die earlier. Hardcore athletes have a shorter lifespan. So to me now, it's not about sweating buckets. That's what I want to sweat every day because I do feel better and it keeps me fit. But it's more important to be healthy on the inside, because we all want to live a long, abundant, healthy life. So that's kind of how I've switched gears. I still teach classes, but I love sharing this gift too. It's wonderful. It goes hand in hand.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And, I just love hearing that journey and also your recovery, right?
Thank you. And I always forget to tell people the tumor's not grown. So people will come back to me later and say, what happened? It's still there. It's very tiny, but it's not grown in 8 years now. So I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, fantastic. Well, I cannot wait to share this video with you. Share computer sound. Here we go.
Welcome to the Healthy Living Revolution Live. My name is Julie Herbst. The Healthy Living Revolution is a movement of people who are taking healthy back, and we're offering this series to bring some simple solutions and education. Our speaker for this episode is Dr. Paul Stricker. Dr. Stricker is one of just over 250 pediatricians in the United States who is also board certified in sports medicine. He completed his pediatrics training at Arkansas Children's Hospital and a sports medicine fellowship at UCLA, and was an All-American swimmer in college. After years of being the team doctor for many U.S. national teams, Dr. Paul reached a coveted position when he was selected by the U.S. Olympic Committee as a physician for the United States team for the Sydney Olympics in 2000. He previously served as president of the American Medical Society for Sports Medicine and as a member of the executive committee of the American Academy of Pediatrics Council on Sports Medicine and Fitness. Dr. Paul speaks frequently across the nation on important issues pertaining to youth sports and preventative health. Dr. Stricker has authored numerous medical publications and a book for parents and coaches entitled Sports Success RX, Your Child's Prescription for the Best Experience. It's fantastic. He's been cited in such national publications as U.S. News and World Report, USA Today, parenting magazines, and he's been featured on ESPN, Good Morning America, Nightline, and other television and news programs discussing ways to increase activity and decrease sports pressure for children and teenagers. He currently resides and has his medical practice in San Diego, California at Scripps Clinic. Here's Dr. Stricker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. I'm Dr. Paul Stricker, and as a competitive swimmer for much of my life, I learned along the way and made a lot of mistakes, but also learned some really important things that have been added value to my life, even beyond competitive swimming. And so for young athletes out there, I really want to unlock some key aspects of training to help them maximize their performance as best as possible for the greatest success they can have. So I'm going to go to my presentation now. All right. So unlocking the secrets for fueling performance in young athletes. You know, it's so exciting these days when kids are so involved in sports, but at the same time, they're training so hard and they feel like if they work out harder and lift more weights and train longer hours, that's going to be the key to their success. And being able to fuel that performance and that training appropriately is one of the big differences in a successful performance or not. So we want to make sure that we don't overlook that. So this is me, and when I was in high school swimming, but underneath that smile is a very hungry boy. And I was really doing well, but then when I got into college, I kind of hit a stale place right around my sophomore year. And so what did I do? Like most people, if I'm not performing as well as I want to, I decided to train harder and more intensely and do everything I could to work out harder. And in reality, all that did was make me worse. I got more injured, I got more sick, and I just wasn't performing well. So finally, in his wonderful way, the coach who I admire so much throughout my life, though, really kind of got in my face and had told me 3 important words that really have changed my life. And he was saying, "You've got to eat." And at the time I thought, well, that seems pretty simple. And he said, "No, because you really got to eat." Because I said, "I do. I have breakfast and then I squeeze in lunch and then dinner before I go to bed." And he said, "No, you've got to be eating all the time." you're spending so many calories that you have to just eat as much as you can. And so I took him at his word for it, and I realized at that moment the light bulb went off, and I said, oh my gosh, there's an actual need for calories and fuel. I can't just go to the pool and swim and work out and train hard. I actually have to have calories and fuel to be able to do that. So at that point, I really realized the tremendous need for calories and fuel. But then fast forward through my life, and I continued training through middle school, high school, college, and then I trained through medical school and residency and even into my working life. But then as I became a team doctor in sports medicine and started working with middle school athletes, and then I started working with high school athletes, and then NCAA athletes. Eventually I started working with national teams, and then ultimately was able to work with the Olympic team. That whole time frame allowed me to go beyond just seeing the need for calories and fuel, but to be able to see the value of nutritional fuel, which is very different than the need for calories and fuel. So being able to determine that value was a really key thing that then continued to change my life with those 3 words of you gotta eat. So young athletes are very unique. They need calories to exercise hard, but they need additional healthy calories to grow as well. And so they need to be able to pretty much graze and eat all day long and as frequently as possible. So having enough calories to be able to fuel all that training is really, really important, as well as fueling their ability to grow. But those calories can work for you or against you, because it's the value that's so key. So what are we talking about here? You know, I can tell you through my experience, where parents and coaches know, well, please tell me the best kind of nutrition my kid can eat in order to have the best performance. Or young athletes that say, you know, which fruits and vegetables should I eat to perform well? I can tell you that never happens, ever. You know, it's not really on the radar. The bottom line with everybody I deal with is typically performance. You know, they want to know, bottom line, how can I perform better? And usually the first things they talk about is, you know, how can I train harder? What kind of strength training can I do? What kind of, you know, personal coach can I get? All those things can be important. But if you're not feeling that performance, then that can be a real detriment to your ability to do as best you can. So a lot of parents will even say to you, how much exercise, you know, should my child be getting? And typically, you know, my practice is built very much on kids having overuse injuries, doing too much, too soon, too fast, too long. And so if they're able to train effectively, recover, feel good, not get sick, not get hurt, and keep up with their other duties of life, such as school, then they're getting an adequate amount of exercise. And if they're doing at least 30 to 60 minutes every day, that's also really important that they stay active. However, we know that, yes, when we exercise, we get better muscle tone, we get some flexibility, we get some cardiac benefits. Our immune system can be healthier if we don't over-exercise. But if we do too much, or if we, even if we just exercise regularly, there are some negative byproducts. Our bodies produce muscle protein breakdown, we generate oxidative stress and free radicals, and we do suppress the immune system if we exercise too intensely. So these negative byproducts are things that we actually have to be able to handle and clear from our system in order to get the best benefit of exercise. So yes, there are risks if you over-exercise without that adequate fuel, which is exactly what was happening with me. I was exercising harder without enough of the adequate fuel, and my body was breaking down. So I did not have the benefit of having that fuel to give me the calories that I needed that were valuable enough to also protect me. So for me, this is a really important formula, basically, that performance and our health, I mean, this is equal to our health. Performance is basically our fuel, plus being able to recover, plus able to be protected. And so let's look at this for a second. You know, where do we get our fuel? It comes from circulating energy in our body, such as ATP and blood sugar, but it also comes from those stored carbohydrates and those stored fats. And then recovery is very dependent on, again, replacing those adequate carbohydrates with protein, and of course, rehydrating and getting adequate rest. And when we sleep, that's when our body does a lot of repair and recovery. So it's really critical, especially for young people, to get enough sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, your immune system doesn't function as well, and it increases your risk of infection. So none of those things are what we want. And then protection, that actually comes from the nutrients that are involved in your foods. And again, that would be the good, healthy foods that we're talking about, fruits and vegetables, and healthy, lean fishes and things that provide nutrients for us. So we want to make sure that kids understand that what they're putting in their body really matters. So protection, yeah. I thought if I exercise, that's good for me, right? It is. But if you exercise a lot, then you generate more of that protein breakdown. You generate more free radicals and oxidative stress. You generate more immune suppression. And it's hard to recover from that if you don't have the right nutrients to protect you. So that's where we need the protective benefit of our food and our fuel rather than just being able to use it for calories, all right? So that good nutrition does provide the fuel. It provides the ability to recover and to be protected, not just the calories themselves. That's where we get the difference then between the need for calories and the value of those calories. So case in point for me, calories for calories. My coach said, you got to eat. So I took him at his word. I ate and I ate and I ate. And so after practice, I would eat a box of donuts. And then I would, in between class, I would go grab, a couple slices of pizza. And then my friends after practice would eat, burgers and fries, and we'd go for that mac and cheese for the good carb reloading. And then, of course, top it off with a bunch of cookies. So yes, I was fulfilling the need for calories. I was getting caloric fuel to that, but I was also causing damage to my body with all of those saturated fats and generating more free radicals and oxidative stress, and then all the empty calories and the processed sugar. So it was a real wake-up call when I realized later in my life that that wasn't exactly what I was supposed to be doing. So yes, I was getting calories, but I needed calories that provided the fuel and also protection for my body so that it wouldn't break down with all that intense training. So then being able to have healthy fats, being able to have all those incredible good carbohydrates from grains and legumes, super important. And then, of course, all the amazing carbohydrates and protein that we get in fruits and vegetables that also are just loaded with tens and tens of thousands of protective nutrients that help our body to recover and to be protected as healthy as we can be. So my motto really is to be able to see your food differently so that it matters, and see that that extra value from your food is what's going to help benefit your performance. So, you have that option. Look at that apple and see it as something that's sexy and meaningful, and that it's got, oh my gosh, it's got carbohydrates, it's got the carbs for fuel, it's got carbs for recovery, and it's got tens of thousands of nutrients that are going to help protect me. You're going to see that differently than if you just see it as a decoration on your table in a bowl that doesn't have any meaning. So that's where you're going to start to get that ability to see food as power for your performance. So then as that good food becomes more attractive because you know why, then what happens? We used to think that you ate them and the nutrients would circulate in your blood and hit your brain, and your brain would start to go, oh, that's good for me, and start to like that. But now we know it's even more than that. It hits our second brain, which is basically our gut, and all that microbiome in our gut starts sending signals to our brain. And that's when we start to notice that kids will start to want these healthier foods. So it's not just about knowing that they're there, but as you eat them, your body starts to actually want them. And so those things can provide that additional benefit for you to fuel that amazing race car of a body that you are as an athlete. You run on high octane fuel. You don't want to put crummy fuel in that car, right? This is expensive, and our bodies are very meaningful and very priceless. So let's fuel it appropriately. Now, I don't care how good you are, at what level you are, you cannot perform at your best if you are not fully healthy. And I've had a lot of Olympians tell me that, hey, they've trained hard, but they were lucky on that particular day that they were as healthy as they could be. And so they were able to do their best performance and win that gold medal or get that world record. So your best performance comes when you're fully healthy. And that also includes the ability to stay healthy from the fuel that you put in your body. So being able to combat those negative effects of intense training and stress of competition, because that is generating a lot of chemicals in our body that aren't as good for us. So we need to fuel well for multiple different reasons. And being able to recover and refuel within that 20 to 30-minute window after exercise is really critical for you. That's when our bodies are most receptive, and that's when it's really important. Because if you don't do that, then what happens? What are the consequences of that? If you wait a long time to refuel that tank, then it's not as easy. And if you go even 2 hours without refueling, then you've lost your ability to replace that you just spent by about 65%. So we want to make sure that you get that tank fuel again and do it quickly within that first 20 to 30 minutes. Because if you don't, then you get less fuel for the next time. And then that's going to cause more stress to your body, more protein breakdown, more free radicals, more immune suppression. And then that is going to cause more risk of injury, more risk of illness. You have less protection. And then, of course, it's not going to benefit your performance. So that's where I always talk to athletes about the difference between being fit and healthy. Because most of these kids are super fit, but we want to make sure that they're fit and healthy. And to be able to do that comes from your fuel. So let nutrition have that really positive aspect and impact on your performance, because I really want you to feel your health rather than just feeding your exercise. For years, I was just feeding my exercise, but it wasn't helping my health. And so then when I started to properly fuel myself, then I was getting the best benefit of my exercise. I had even better performances, and my body stayed healthier for much longer. And even to this day, eating more fruits and vegetables, I'm able to recover so much better than even I did in college. So they are important for your performance because they provide healthy carbohydrates, healthy fats, healthy proteins, and all those nutrients that are so valuable for fuel recovery and that protective benefit. How many servings really matter though, right? Most of us go, oh yeah, I'll eat 2 or 3. I'll eat a banana, eat a salad, and eat an apple later. But we do know that that matters, and they're actually doing a lot of scientific research that proves that there's an optimal amount of, a tipping point of about 7 to 10 servings, which is about the size of your fist, 7 to 10 servings where we start to reduce our risk of dying. And so greater than that is important, especially when you're intensely exercising. We encourage people to eat even 9 to 13 servings, and even more than that if you're a competitive athlete. So that really becomes another task in and of itself that's challenging. So how do you do that? You can add another fruit and vegetable serving per month for a year, and then you're eating up to 12 servings, and you can continue to do that. So get creative. You can grind them up, mix them up in things, put them in smoothies. There's other ways to do that. Daily, see your food as power for your performance, and then fill in the gaps with concentrated food powders. It's a great way to get a tremendous amount of additional nutrition without having to eat an excessive additional amount. We still want you to eat your 9 to 13 servings or 7 to 13 servings, but please know that there's a great way to fill in your gaps with food powders. And so being able to take this broccoli and grind it all up and take the water out, you're just left with amazing broccoli powder. And that's because broccoli is about 90% water. So you get rid of all that, you've got concentrated food powders. So one company has been able to do that extremely well, and that's Juice Plus Company. They've taken 30 fruits and vegetables and berries and been able to grow them as clean as possible and then process them by just grinding them up, stem, seed, skin, and all, and take out the water. And then they have these wonderful concentrated food powders and even other fruits and vegetable powders in a carbohydrate and protein shake. So it's really important for us to be able to get additional nutrition, but eating as many as we can every day is the most important priority. When I compare this to the drugs that I write prescriptions for, just knowing that there's 38 published medical studies independently done all over the world at universities and medical centers is really important for me, and they show just consistency of results. And so being able to have this vast amount of research to support the fact that fruits and vegetables can give us so much benefit. 3 of those studies are published actually in one of the most important sports medicine medical journals that I use, called Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. And it basically, the studies have shown that these high intensity athletes and even military are getting the most benefit of their exercise with the fewest negative effects. So they're able to actually reduce the amount of muscle protein breakdown they have with that intense exercise while having less oxidative stress and less free radicals, but maintaining a better immune system so they even stay healthier and not get sick like some of the people in the study that weren't eating Juice Plus. And they even have additional cardiovascular benefits as well. So I think those are all really important aspects of how we can optimize our training benefit with the fuel that we put in our body. Even more important too for athletes, Juice Plus is NSF certified for sport, which just means that the company has gone above and beyond the typical standards for processing and being able to have a product that is not only safe but super clean, which then helps to provide the ability for us to have, fair play in sport and not be drug testing positive. So when we look at this puzzle, I think about all the things that I did. I trained harder. I worked on my technique. I got as flexible as I could. I got as strong as I could. I stayed hydrated, and I tried to get a lot of sleep. But I was missing out on that nutritional piece of the puzzle, which when you look at this picture, it's the only piece of it that really provides protection for you. It's got all those nutrients that then give us fuel from the carbohydrates and recovery, but also then all those nutrients provide us with the protective benefit that we need to stay as healthy as possible. So I'm just summing it up here that I just want you to see how we've got to eat as many fruits and vegetables as possible, but that good nutrition and then being able to add Juice Plus to that, they really collaborate well and to play that powerful role for best performance. So please see your food differently. Understand the difference between the need for calories and the value of those calories. And then remember my motto about being able to fuel, being able to recover, and to stay protected. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
We'd like to encourage you to get back with the person who shared this webinar with you. And thank you again, Dr. Stricker, for this incredible health information. Thank you for joining us.
Well, so glad that you all are here, and I am going to introduce now my friend Roxy Moore, and she is an athlete in her own right and also the mama of athletes. So I can't wait to hear from you. Go ahead, Roxy.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm so glad you're here. I will make this short and sweet because we're trying to keep it in our 30 minutes for you. A little bit about me, like Brenda said, I am a mom of 3. I have an 8-year-old son, a 5-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old daughter. My 2 daughters are competitive dancers. They've been competing for 2 years, my youngest, and this will be my oldest daughter's 3rd year of competitive dancing. And so the way that they are fueled most definitely affects their performance. And the reason I got interested in nutrition and the power of nutrition actually didn't happen until my athlete days was over. I was a college athlete. I played soccer. I was a cheerleader and dancer growing up. I was always very, very active. And I was taught the traditional macros. So you get your fats, your carbs, and your proteins in line, and you're good to go. I was never taught about the power of micronutrition and fruits and vegetables. Yeah, we ate them, but what was more important was, are you getting your protein and carbs to sustain your energy? And so when I was 21 years old, my father randomly died, and that really shook up my world on so many levels. And once I had kids, I knew that I didn't want that to repeat itself, because if I died when my father died, I wouldn't see any of my kids graduate high school. And that's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable that that's the reality of what happens these days. And so that really ignited my passion for giving kids a healthy relationship with food and allowing them to see it as power and not something that controls them. And so that's where my journey started. And so my girls decided they wanted to dance. We started out recreationally, and it quickly snowballed into a huge passion for them. And I remember after our first year competing, my daughter was 3 years old, and moms of the teenagers were coming up to me like, how can she dance so much stronger than my girls? And I was like, well, what are they eating? Like, plain and simple, what are they eating? Because she eats really well. Before Juice Plus, she didn't. She was your traditional chicken nugget kid. And I was so thankful for Juice Plus, because as moms, we do the best we can. You know, being a mom is hard. Being a dad is hard. We're all figuring it out as we're going along. And sometimes those chicken nuggets are just easier, right? It's not worth the fight some nights. And so we found Juice Plus, and for me, it made sense because with all the research I had been doing, everything said fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables. And for us, it wasn't necessarily a performance thing that started it. It was, how can I keep my family together as long as possible, that started our journey. And fruits and vegetables are the answer to that. That is what we were missing. That's what the American diet is missing. And so when I found Juice Plus, I'm not a huge fan of supplements, guys. And so I was a huge, huge skeptic. And when I looked into it and found out it really is just fruits and vegetables that have been dehydrated with the water taken out, I was shocked that something like this existed. And as a college athlete, I didn't know about it. But now as a mom, that I didn't know about it when I was pregnant. And I was just thankful that my kids were still young enough to get it in them. And it has been a game changer for us, guys. Not only are my kids recovering faster between their workouts, like he was just talking about, they're recovering faster, they're sleeping better, they're eating better. My chicken nugget kid will now go and grab an apple or a pint of blueberries and we'll just sit down and eat them. Whereas before, I think hell would have frozen over before she did that, if we're all honest. But they're not getting sick. They're not getting injured. And as moms, to know that our kids aren't going to be sick and that sick does not have to be the normal is so empowering, because it allows them to do what they want to do. And as parents, I think that's when we're the most proud, is when our kids are up there doing their thing and doing it well. And by adding in Juice Plus and just focusing on our nutrition and what we're eating in our house, it has really, really made the biggest difference. And so for our kids, I love that we're able to look at food and make that connection of, oh, Mom, my tummy hurts today. Like, okay, well, what did you eat? Well, oh, we had a treat at school today. Okay, well, that's not what you normally eat. Your body's not used to it. Or what do we need to eat to get you to feel better? And I know that kids can be a little finicky sometimes, but if we sit down and just have a talk with them about why we need to change the way we're eating, or why we need to eat this instead of that, they really do get it. So in our house, we're doing a challenge right now where we are going vegetarian through the holidays, and it has been crazy. We haven't been perfect, but the kids are excited about it when we talked about it. And we talked about how the meats can cause inflammation. And I'm not saying everybody has to go vegetarian by any means, but we like to do fun little food challenges in our house. Sometimes it's going to the grocery store and they all have to pick a new fruit or vegetable that we're going to try, and we'll look up a recipe that they want to make with it. Little things like that to get them excited about what they're eating. Healthy eating doesn't have to be a salad and a smoothie every day. While those are fantastic ways to increase your number that you're getting, there's so many other recipes out there. And so if you have young athletes, I would encourage you just to sit down and talk to them about their nutrition. And if you're not sure how to do it, if Brenda invited you on this call, she's fantastic about it. Or if you connect with my story, I'm happy to get on a 3-way call with y'all as well. We're very open, and we just really want to give these kids the best chance they have to do what they love, whether it's recreational or if it's their lifelong passion and dream to go and be on Broadway, like one of my girls. Like, I want to do whatever I can in my power to give her that, not only financially, but so her body can sustain it until the day she doesn't want to do it anymore. That it will be her choice, not her body's choice.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. And one of the things I'm loving about what you said is how many moms would just do somersaults if their kid grabbed an apple or a fruit or a vegetable for a snack without any intervention, right? Like, that's priceless all by itself. Okay, I have one more friend I can't wait for you to meet. My friend Jessica is traveling between appointments, and so she's going to join us on the phone. Jessica, we would love to hear a bit about your health story and why you fuel the athletes in your home the way that you do.
Oh, hang on one second.
I got you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, can hear you now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I appreciate you giving me the time to kind of share my story. And so for me, very, very similar story is that Juice Plus absolutely makes sense. The fruits and veggies, especially in my home, because we also have 2 young athletes in our home. I have a daughter who's 10 who plays basketball and volleyball, and then my son who is 8 who plays basketball and soccer and baseball. So gosh, with us being busy and on the go, we know how important having that fruit and vegetable variety in their diet is, but it is often very, very hard to figure it into a busy schedule. So it makes so much sense. But then for me personally, what I wanted to share is I've been a competitive runner for about, oh gosh, I shudder to say this out loud, but about 15 years. And so it's been a little while, and I've always enjoyed running, but I started competing and running marathons back in 2004. And I had run my personal best back in 2006. And that was when I was in my mid-20s. And ever since then, I had always wanted to beat that goal, but I just couldn't beat it. And I chased it for, well, that's 13 years. And so I decided this past year that I wanted to try again, but I knew I had to do something differently because I'm a little older now, and now I'm in my early 40s, and knew I needed to make a change to be able to meet that goal. And so I did a few other small changes, which actually, believe it or not, was training less, because now that I'm older, I know overtraining, especially with the oxidative stress, is not doing me any favors. So I trained a little less and smarter, but then I changed my nutrition a lot. And the biggest part of that was Juice Plus. And so I am so thankful and grateful to Juice Plus, because I was finally able to meet that goal. And not only did I beat my personal best time, but I beat it by 6 minutes. So that for me was huge. I can remember running, and that's been just not quite 3 weeks ago, and running up to the finish line, knowing that was about to happen, I cried. It was an overwhelming feeling. And so I'm so thankful that, I mean, it shouldn't surprise me, but sometimes I think we are surprised at how much of a difference smart and good fuel makes a difference. And as I work as a physical therapist, and so I'm continually talking to my patients about obviously their physical health, but the longer I treat them, the more I need to, and have done a better job of educating them on the nutritional piece, because much like a car, as we have cars that get older, we have to do better maintenance to them, just like, and that's the physical part that I do as a physical therapist, is we have to do maintenance and keep things running correctly and changing our brake pads and our tires. But if we don't put the proper fuel into that vehicle, it is still not going to run well, even on the best tires and the best brake pads and the nicest exterior. Without the right healthy fuel, it is not going to operate well, and our bodies are no different. So anyway, feeling extremely passionate about that. So I'm just cannot thank you enough for allowing me to share my story about what a difference Juice Plus has made for me and my family. So thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Jessica. I just love that. I'm still celebrating your win, and just so many of us tell ourselves the stories that, you know, at 40 and 50 we're slowing down, and no, that doesn't have to be the case. Just because that's what's common doesn't mean that's what's normal. It's not over till it's over, and our bodies can always improve and get better than where we are today. So I just love that. There's so much hope in that. So thank you again for carving out the time to be with us. Thank you to each person here that you invested the time in yourself to come and learn something new. I hope that you're walking away with a motivation, an education to maybe make a simple change. And if so, we are thrilled of that. And maybe you heard something that says, I need to know more about this Juice Plus stuff, or I'm ready to get some on its way. Just talk to the person who invited you, and they will absolutely have a conversation with you about what your goals are and the best way for you to start. And maybe you watch this information today, and some names and some faces of people that you love were rolling through your head. And if that's the case, again, just let the person who invited you know that, and we will help you empower them with this education too. Okay, thanks you guys for being here. We'll see you later.
Thank you.